Hey guys and girls, my name's Alan and welcome to this gameplay commentary. So as you can see, we're doing a bit more Uncharted 4 Survival. Multiplayer video will be the next one that I do. No one said anything yet about whether they prefer M4 or Pack 80, so I'm probably just going to go with Pack 80 and then, well, unless someone says otherwise, and then just wing it after that. So the match we're about to watch is Madagascar, that's stage 2. And this is my first attempt on hard, and as you can see I'm playing in a party of 3. So Vasakura is a friend of mine, and I think Vulcan Emotion is a friend of theirs, so friend of a friend. So party of 3, and this is my first time playing hard. This was actually the second night that I played Survival. So on the first night I did moderate, I did stages 1 through 10, I did it all in one sitting. I didn't plan it that way, but it just happened to work out that way. So I did it all in one sitting, and then I called it a night. And then the next day I jumped online, Vasakura sent me an invite, I joined them, and we did basically stages 1 through 10 again, but on hard. So I'm going to upload my moderate run, because that's my first time ever playing, and I did record live gameplay commentary as I was playing. So I'm going to upload that to my players channel. Unfortunately, my Elgato crashed just at the start of stage 2 basically, so I don't have footage of my first boss fight, which is really unfortunate. So in its place I'm just going to upload this gameplay, this exact same gameplay, because it's my first time playing on hard, so I thought that'll just have to do. But I didn't record any gameplay commentary. That dude just goes flying there. I didn't record any gameplay commentary because I obviously I was just playing and we weren't communicating or anything like that. So I'll put that in its place. But obviously I'm gonna commentate over it today, and today's video is basically just gonna be my first impressions part 2. So I did a first impressions part 1, which is on the channel. I'll also link it on the screen now, and it'll also be in the description as well. But basically in that video I talked about some of the changes from previous games moving on to Uncharted 4. So I talked about how the leveling system was a little bit different. It's actually really fast now because of the way that you can get XP from stars. I've talked about how the life and the respawn system has changed slightly, and how just in general it feels a bit easier because you don't have to worry about reviving people or people dying, because you can just hit the box and bring them back to life, and it takes away some of the danger, I suppose, in playing on harder difficulties. And then also because of that it takes away some of the factors like clutch waves and just stuff like that, which, I mean, it sounds a bit selfish, but sometimes, you know, you kind of want to be that guy who manages to save the day sort of thing. And I know it's just a game and it's all about teamwork and all the rest of it, but that was just one of the aspects that I fell in love with in Uncharted 2, and you know, it was sort of still there in Uncharted 3, even though they brought back the shared life system, and that kind of didn't work out too well in theory, as again I said it in the previous video. So I won't cover it all again here today. If you do want to check out my thoughts on those topics, then check out the video. As I said, linked in the description. I also linked it earlier as well. It's also on the channel if you just can't be asked to follow on the links and you want to find it yourself. So yeah, so today I'm going to talk about more, as I said, about the things that I feel have changed, and I've learned a lot as I've been playing this game. The more I play, the more things I pick up, and obviously that comes with any game. Obviously I know that I'm just saying that for the sake of saying it, but in terms of co-op, the more I play, the more I notice how things have changed and what I sort of missed from previous games. And it's funny because I'm talking to a friend of mine who's currently not playing Uncharted because basically her console's not working, and basically we played a crap ton of Uncharted 3 back in the day, right? We've put in some proper hours together, and she was asking me if the game was fun, and I said, yeah, it's fun, but it's just different, and it's kind of hard to, well, it was kind of hard to explain at the time why it was different, but the more I play it, the more I can sort of put into words now what is different. And the first part, I mean, the first impressions part 1, that covers some of it. You know, obviously there's no more clutches, and it takes some of the risk as well. When you go down, you don't have to worry about dying because you can get revived so easily at the crates. But there's other things that are different. I mean, there's a bunch of smaller stuff, and then there's a few bigger things that I think is what I'm trying to get at, basically. So in Uncharted 2, you know, and in Uncharted 3, I suppose, you weren't really playing for time. I mean, if you completed a match really fast, that was great, but it was about completing the match, because it was quite hard to do that on Crushing, for example. And obviously if you get dodgy siege areas, that made the match even harder, and you know, if you had bad players, then again that would make things difficult as well. But in this game, having bad players, as I said, because you know you can revive them so easily, makes no difference really. I think in general the co-op, the survival is actually quite easy. It's not that difficult. You've got a lot of stuff to use to help you complete the match, And as I said, because you can revive players so easily, that's the main reason why matches failed in Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3. So the fact that you can revive players so easily in this game, matches rarely fail. They might take a while to finish, but in fact no, they never fail. That's the thing I'm trying to get at. Matches never fail. They will just keep restarting indefinitely. So it's up to you whether you want to leave because you're bored or you've just given up or whatever. And I don't quit. That's not how I roll. So I'll stay there to the bitter end, and I'll usually be the last person standing, whether that's me on my own completing it with an AI buddy, which has happened a couple of times already, so no surprises there. But yeah, like the matches can be really drawn out, and that's something different. In Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3, if you failed, then that's game over. But in this game, if you fail a wave, you could just keep playing it over and over and over again. And again, that doesn't make it any more challenging, that just makes it a bit more drawn out. And sometimes matches, well, depends. If we're in a party, then the matches don't take that long. But if you're in pubs and they're not too good, then the matches can be a bit longer. But even so, they're quite generous. The average match on Crushing Uncharted 3 was what, 20 something minutes. But even on this game, like some of the waves are really fast. You can complete them in sub 20. So it's not that challenging in my opinion. Maybe I don't want to sound big headed here, but maybe I am a bit better than the average person at co-op. Well, than the average pub anyway. So I don't know. It's just one of them things, and it feels like, as I said a little bit earlier, you're playing more for setting a good time than you are for the fact that you're completing it. And that's probably why you don't get the same sense of satisfaction, because they design it so that you can sort of complete it in these time frames. And as soon as you learn the strategies, you'll just do it over and over again. So it gets sort of like repetitive. And that's the thing I didn't like about Uncharted 3, was that like some of the siege areas are always in the same place. Sometimes you get dodgy ones, but for the most part there was always between 3, and now they've reduced it to 1. So I don't really understand that. And also there's no gold rush, and the gold rush in Uncharted 3 was again preset, and I didn't like that because there was no variety and you just did the same things over and over again. And every single wave in Survival is exactly the same. Well, every stage is exactly the same. So it doesn't matter what difficulty you play it on, exactly the same. You might get tougher enemies and stuff like that, but the objective is always going to be set in the same place. So you know to set up, you know to be there, you know where to go, you know what the next wave's going to be. There's no unknown factor, which adds to the challenge in my opinion. So there's none of that anymore. So as I said, it seems like it's just about setting times, and that's what it comes down to, setting a good time. But to me, that's not arena. That's not a challenge. That's a different type of thing. And I don't really want to play for time. I mean, yeah, if you complete an arena match in a good time, it's great. But you want it to be fulfilling when you beat a match. And in this case, it's just you're trying to rush through the game, and I don't know. It takes some of the enjoyment out of it. I mean, setting a good time is nice, but it's not the reason why I started playing co-op. There were time limits in Uncharted 2 for Gold Rush, but for Survival and stuff like that, there wasn't any time limits, and that's not why you played. And the same with Uncharted 3. Your objective was to beat the arena, the match, not to set it in a good time. I mean, you didn't get any bonuses or anything for time, so it made a difference. But in this game, it seems as though they've set everything in place so that you've got what you need to do to beat the match quickly. They've set the objectives on a set pattern, so you know exactly what to do. And obviously, they can't judge time unless they do that, because obviously if the objectives were random, then some people would get good times and some people wouldn't get so good times, and that would be down to the objectives and how easy they were, or how lucky you got with the placement of siege spawns, stuff like that. I think the best game that I can compare it to is Mass Effect 3. People tried to set good times on maps, but because the objectives were random, some people got really lucky with the objectives, so they set really good times. Some people didn't get lucky with the objectives, so they couldn't set good times. And on PC, I know I don't know if I'll call it cheating, but you could sort of preset the objectives. They did something with the code, and I won't go into too much detail, but basically there was a way that they could set the objectives to come up in a certain way, so they could constantly go for a better time, and that's why ultimately PC, I think, still holds the best time as far as I know across all the platforms. But anyway, that's another topic. So yeah, I don't know, I get the sense that there might be more to co-op on the way, because, well, for starters, it's called Survival. So where's the co-op aspect? I do believe that Adventure is on the way. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't on the way. But I also think that there might actually be a co-op arena on the way as well. So there might actually be 3 modes. So you've got Survival, setting good times. You've got Arena, hopefully coming back for, obviously, with random objectives. So the objective is to beat the arena. I'm hoping so anyway. And then Adventure, which I'd be very surprised if it doesn't come back. But the fact that we haven't heard anything about it yet is a little bit worrying. Having said that, we didn't hear anything about Survival for ages, and then suddenly they released it like a month after they announced it. So who knows, right? But yeah, I get the feeling that there could be more coming. hate to say it, but so far Survival, even though it is fun and I'm enjoying it, and I'm definitely up to the challenge of beating the times, and I'm going to do that at some point. It's a case of how long it takes me to do it, not if I'm going to be able to do it, because I don't think it's that hard, to be honest. Crushing on Uncharted 4 is not the same level as crushing on Uncharted 3, that's for damn sure. And with all the stuff they've given us to use as well, it's easier, if anything, across all the levels. So I hope that there is an arena on the way, and I hope the adventure is on the way as well. And if it isn't, then I hate to say it, but I would be a little bit disappointed with Survival having waited so long, because I don't think there's a lot of replay factor involved. As I said, all the waves, all the stages are exactly the same. You might get more tougher enemies, but there's no variety. So what's the point in playing it apart from setting a better time? But what if you're not interested in setting a better time? What's the purpose in playing then, if you know what I'm saying? And yeah, you could say, well, you grind out for the weapons, but then what do you need better weapons for if you've already beat the stage and already set a good time and you've got your emblem? You know, where's the replay factor there? In Uncharted 3, I would play for flawlesses. I'd try and beat the bloody map for starters. That was a challenge in itself. And then eventually I went on to try and do it as duos, but then obviously as the new games came out, we kind of waved off that a little bit. But yeah, I feel like there needs to be more for co-op. And I know it's not called co-op, so I'm hoping that maybe the co-op is coming at some point. But Survival is not a replacement for co-op. It's something I feel is running alongside it, and it's definitely good in terms of, you know, it gives you something to work towards, setting a good time and getting your emblem. But that's it. I feel like once you've got that, there's not a lot of reason otherwise to play the game, if you follow what I'm saying. But as I said, that's just my thoughts and opinions. If you've got any thoughts you'd like to share with me regarding what I've just talked about, then let me know in the comment section below. But yeah, as I said a little bit earlier when I was talking to my friend, it's kind of hard to put into words, but I feel it's different. And yeah, different isn't always a bad thing, but this wasn't what I was expecting, if you know what I mean. I was sort of expecting a bit more from co-op. And as I said, I know it's not called co-op, so I'm hoping the co-op is still on the way, but we just have to wait and see what Naughty Dog provides us with in the future, and hopefully it's adventure and arena. Okay, so that'll do it for today's video. If you enjoyed the content, consider tapping that like button. I really appreciate it. And as I said, if you've got any thoughts you'd like to share with me, let me know in the comment section below. But until next time, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, take care, and I will see you later.